being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is The Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. And listen, I promised a lot of people I was going to start the show talking about the pistol brace ruling that we got out of Texas. And I will get back to that. I apologize. The plan I had to spend the first hour talking about that evaporated with a ridiculously long IU postgame show. But we have an important guest that I'm really excited about coming on here in just a few moments, and that's Michael Cargill, and he is the litigant. He was the plaintiff in the case in Texas challenging the Biden administration. Well, I say Biden administration. That's who's fighting to support it and keep it in place. But it was originally a Trump administration regulatory action. And let's set the stage here a little bit. After the horrific Las Vegas shooting, where over 50 people, I think it was 58 people, lost their lives in this just horrible, horrible mass shooting. And we remember the video of somebody shooting from the Mandalay Bay, the resort casino hotel there along the Strip. And I've stayed in that hotel. But, broke a couple of windows, and this guy, who we still don't know much about, was firing shots out of his window down into a country music festival. And the stories, both of tragedy and loss of life and also of heroism, came out of that mass shooting are just unbelievable. The problem is law enforcement hasn't told us a lot about what the hell this guy was all about and what his motives really were, where the firearms came from, what kind of firearms they even were. But in the middle of all of that, it was reported that this guy had used some bump stocks, I think more than one, on some of the firearms that he shot. And the video and the audio, if you've seen and heard, it sounded like a fully automatic firearm. To me, it did not sound like a gun with a bump stock on it. I've been around a lot of guns with bump stocks on them. What a bump stock is, if you're not familiar with that term, it's a stock that you fit onto a rifle, and it allows the rifle to bounce off of your shoulder. So when you start pulling the trigger, if you just keep your trigger finger rigid in a fixed location, a fixed position, as the bump stock allows the gun to bounce off your shoulder, then your rigid trigger finger pulls the trigger very, very rapidly. And it can sound, if somebody knows what they're doing and they practice with it, it can sound like an automatic firearm. But importantly, you only get one shot fired per manipulation of the trigger. And per the definition of a machine gun written by Congress, because that's who makes laws in this country, and that's really the point in the Cargill case. According to the definition of machine gun written by Congress, if you have a separate manipulation of the trigger for each shot fired or each bullet that comes out of the muzzle, that's not a machine gun. But if you remember, I remember like it was yesterday, the press conference, President Trump said, no, and bump stocks are gone. I've told the ATF bump stocks are gone. And the NRA was complicit. I remember, again, I criticized the NRA right here on this program. The NRA came out and said, we've invited the ATF to revisit the legality of bump stocks. So what did Trump tell the ATF to do, and what did NRA say they were totally fine with the ATF doing? It was essentially rewriting a definition of machine gun written by Congress. And can they do that? And this all comes back to Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution. I mean, you don't have to dig too deep into the Constitution. Right after the we the people part, very first thing in the Constitution, Article 1, Section 1. And it says, all legislative powers shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. All legislative powers. So does that mean a regulatory agency that's part of an executive branch can just rewrite laws written by Congress? Well, the answer to that is no. Now, the Supreme Court has been complicit in allowing regulatory agencies to act as judge, jury, and executioner on a lot of different issues, not just on firearms-related issues, not just the ATF. The EPA has done this. The IRS has done this. A massive quantity of regulatory agencies have passed their own regulations that have the force and effect of law that can put people in jail, just like this bump stock regulation can. And the Supreme Court's let them do it for a long time. Now, this Supreme Court's starting to rein that back a little bit. But the issue here, and the primary issue, as I see it in the Cargill case, is not even whether bump stocks are protected by the Second Amendment so that, quote unquote, banning them violates the Second Amendment of the Constitution. That's another argument. And I'm sure that argument's going to be made and has been made. But the litigants in this case don't have to win that argument because, in other words, you start talking about, are they commonly used for lawful purposes? I think the answer to that is yes. There are hundreds of thousands or millions of them out there, at least there were before they were banned. And so you can get there, but I think the better argument, the stronger argument, and the argument that I think the Supreme Court will side with Mr. Cargill on is to say that a legislative agency exceeds its constitutional authority when it changes laws written by Congress. And that has so much impact. Look across the board at what else the ATF has done. And a lot of these are being stricken down at lower court levels, and we'll see what the Supreme Court does or doesn't do. But for instance, we just had a case also out of the Fifth Circuit, which is the federal appellate court that hears appeals out of Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. But it just struck down the rule the ATF came out with on receivers, calling certain unfinished receivers firearms. They've redefining what is a firearm, what is a receiver, and what is a frame. And this is the so-called ghost gun legislation. It is legislation, but guess what? ATF is not supposed to legislate. That's the whole point. That's what Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution says. You had the pistol stabilizer brace rule, where the ATF essentially rewrote the definition of rifle or short-barreled rifle written by Congress. And that's not okay. Again, you have this constitutional authority issue, but there are other issues as well. In fact, this pistol stabilizer brace ruling out of Texas, where there was a nationwide injunction issued, isn't even based on a constitutional argument at all. It's an argument that arises out of the Administrative Procedures Act, a federal statute on how agencies are supposed to pass regulations or final rules to engage in what we call rulemaking at the administrative level. That's what had the pistol brace rule set aside. That's why the injunction issued last week. A lot of people are misunderstanding that. You're seeing a lot of people out on social media saying the pistol stabilizer brace ruling was declared unconstitutional. Well, it may be unconstitutional, but that's not what the court ruled. They specifically said there are a lot of other arguments for why this is illegal and unenforceable. We're not reaching any of those because we found that it violates the Administrative Procedures Act, the APA. Why and what's going on there? That's what I wanted to talk about the first hour of the show until this ridiculously long postgame show from the IU-Illinois game went on forever. I'm going to come back to it. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to have Michael Cargill. He's the actual litigant, and he's no stranger to fighting for gun rights all across this country and more specifically in Texas. And a lot of us look at him as a real hero with the Second Amendment. But he's the party, and in fact, his case has been accepted by the Supreme Court, and we'll likely hear oral argument after the first of the year, and we'll likely see a ruling sometime next June or July, if I had to guess. But in terms of what an executive agency's authority is, and when it can engage in rulemaking, and when it can so quote unquote interpret a law written by Congress as to change the meaning of the law, that it becomes legislative, which exceeds its constitutional authority. I'd like to see a ruling that not only that addresses bump stocks, that deals with reining ATF in generally, and frankly, reining administrative agencies in generally. That would be a beautiful thing to me. It would start whittling away at this, in my mind, illegal and unconstitutional fourth branch of government that we've allowed to spring up in this country, which are administrative agencies that our founders never envisioned, never for a million years envisioned we'd have these bunch of administrators, a bunch of lifers at agencies accountable to no one who votes, accountable to no one at all, who can write regulations that have the force of law, or pass rules that have the force of law that can put you in jail. And no one gets to vote them out because they're not elected. That's not okay. And that's not how this system of government was supposed to work. That's not consistent with the separation of powers that our Constitution's all about. I'm going to stop there. We come back, we'll have Michael Cargill, and we'll talk about this case, now accepted to the Supreme Court of the United States. That's going to be exciting. And I can't wait to hear his impression, where he'll have a case with his name on it that'll be out there in the law books for all posterity. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, sir.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our most popular course is our Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class, and we've got another one of those scheduled for Saturday, January 6th. It's going to be at Indy Arms Company on the northeast side there at 2550 East 55th Street. You can register right online. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. You can sign up right online at tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
You want to sell your home? You want to buy a new home? Hire the agent who is an expert on maximizing your home price fast. His name is Mark Deedle. Jim and Emily in Shelbyville. They were ready for some more space and an upgrade for their family. They heard about Mark Deedle. They were impressed by his aggressive marketing plan. Home sold in 2 days for cash at asking price. Plus, Mark also found a new and bigger, better home for Jim and Emily. And he arranged so that they could stay in their old home until move-in date. That's the kind of service you get from Mark Deedle.
Mark Deedle is the only real estate expert that we trust and recommend with the sale of our homes. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. What are you waiting for? Call Mark Deedle today, 317-755-4232, or go to markdeedle.com. Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdeedle.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Everyone's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like business owner Brian.
Yeah, Galaxy was great. We have a business where a lot of the service techs are working out in the field, and they'll come in and they'll have even some mud or something on our shoes. So if we're having a meeting, I needed a flooring that could stand up to that, but still look good as an office setting.
Well, if you own a home or a business, Galaxy Concrete Coatings got you covered.
Galaxy was great to work around our schedule. They were able to come in on a Saturday, and the job was completed over the weekend, and we were back in business, so we didn't miss a step.
Lots of styles to choose from. 4 times stronger than epoxy and a 15-year warranty.
It's very nice looking. It's very durable. Really makes the room stand out and shine.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com now. That's Galaxy Concrete Coatings. And remember to like us on Facebook. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. We're out of this world.
Galaxy was quick to respond. They were quick to give us a solution and quick to get it completed as well. And they're going to take care of you.
Hey, it's JMV, and save the date for the Sundown Gardens and Miss M's Home and Garden Holiday Open House that's coming November the 18th and 19th. Both locations will have samples, door prizes, giveaways, and holiday decor. Plus, they're adding Christmas displays daily. Come get a sneak peek before the open house. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield, sundown.gardens.com. Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 in Bargersville, just south of Whiteland Road. Miss M's Home and Garden.com.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check my backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend almost died. It saved his life.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me, too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get, and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Naloxone saves lives. Learn more at cdc.gov/stop-overdose.
Need a new furnace or air conditioner? Get the best from B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains.
Go to B+W.com. B&W, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back to The Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. We're glad you're with us. We're glad you had the patience to suffer through that ridiculously long postgame show that delayed our start by almost an hour. But listen, more importantly, we've got an important guest here that's joining us. That's Michael Cargill. And first of all, Mr. Cargill, thanks so much for joining us here on the Gun Guy Show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yep. No. So listen, and I've been talking about your case for some time, even before the Supreme Court accepted it. But, you know, I occasionally have people call me that say, "Hi, I want to challenge this law, or I want to challenge that law that they don't like that affects their Second Amendment rights." How did you start all of this? How did you get involved in a case that now has wound up all the way in front of the Supreme Court of the United States?
Well, you know, and let me know if my signal goes out or anything like that. But
no, we got a bunch of background noise. It sounds like maybe you might have your radio on or your TV, but other than that, you sound pretty good.
All right. Sure, not a problem. How's that coming across?
Oh, much better. Thank you, sir.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so it started back in 2017 when they had the Las Vegas shooting.
Right.
And so because of that Las Vegas shooting, which was a very terrible incident, apparently, allegedly, Stephen Paddock used a bump stock to actually commit that heinous crime.
Right.
And so the government decided that in 2018 they were going to...
And we're losing you, Mr. Cargill. I don't know if you can hear me. Want me to call back? Yeah, he's still showing up on the line, but we can't hear him at all. All right, we'll put that on hold. If you can get a hold of him and ask him, maybe hang up and call back. Well, and listen, the background part, I went through, and that's what Mr. Cargill was starting to go through. But what I want to get into is really what the issues are going to be in front of the Supreme Court, and what the prospects are, and what it could really mean. Because again, I think the broader issues with this case are, and in my mind, the goal for this case is reining back the regulatory authority these administrative agencies, and in particular the ATF has just been horrific for I started to say Indiana, for American gun owners. Because look at all the ATF regulations now, just because of these changes, that these can put you in jail. The rule on frames and receivers, so-called ghost guns, the rule on bump stocks, the rule on pistol stabilizer braces. And we're not talking about a minor thing here. We're talking about having an unregistered NFA item, like an unregistered machine gun, because you happen to have a bump stock on it. That's 10 years in federal prison as a maximum sentence. That's a big deal. And listen, it appears we have Mr. Cargill calling back in. We'll see if maybe we can make this call work a little better. Carl, is he ready to go? Okay, apparently not. It's not sounded much better. But I can go through this because, again, okay, we'll try this again. Oh, this is how my night's going. And I'm not even using profanity now like I was in the studio for an hour as I was listening to that post-game show. But we'll try this again. Mr. Cargill, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Okay. And listen, I actually was able to go through the background of the case in the sense of why the Trump administration did what it did in telling the ATF, essentially, with complicity from the NRA. We came out with an announcement.
Right. And you know what?
Yeah, so our listeners, I think, understand the background.
In 2008.
Yeah, how did you get involved? How did you decide to challenge this law? And here we go.
The way I got involved, and the reason I started to challenge this is because no other organization was going to go against the current administration because Trump was the president at the time.
Right, exactly.
And because a Republican was actually talking about, something that we need to ban, no one wanted to cause any stink or any trouble. The NRA was in on it. Everyone was in on it. And
exactly.
I think this is crazy because if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. So that's why I decided to get involved and drum up some support, look for an attorney to fight this case. And in the end, it ended up being just me, no one else. So it ended up being Michael Cargill against the Department of Justice and Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to stop the government from taking bump stocks.
Yeah, and the reason I think this is such an important case is, and I've been saying this right here on this show, and that is that, I'm a firearms instructor. I have been for a long time. I've been a competitive shooter. I've taught thousands of people how to shoot rifles. And I personally don't much care about bump stocks. And I've said right here on this show that I think when you exchange rate of fire, or you exchange accuracy for rate of fire, then that's a bad exchange. And so I would never own a bump stock. And yet I care deeply about your case, and I care deeply about these issues because we're talking about the ability of an executive agency to turn around and rewrite laws written by Congress in a way that can put people in prison. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. And when we're talking about the ATF and gun rights, that's a huge issue for the Second Amendment, which I have tattooed on my right arm. So even though I don't much care about bump stocks as such, I care deeply, more than I can express, about your case and what it could mean for the Second Amendment in the United States. Does all that make sense to you?
It makes perfectly good sense, and I feel the exact same way. I didn't care about bump stocks. It's a terrible way to shoot. It's not accurate at all. It's very unstable, but some people love them. And it's the fact that the ATF decided they were going to ban something that actually was legal in this country. And that's the one thing I just could not step aside and let happen.
That's awesome. So when did you learn that your case had been accepted by the Supreme Court and that you were going to go up and be a party before the highest court in the land?
Well, we've been pushing this for, honestly, by the time it hits the Supreme Court, it'll be 5 years that we filed the lawsuit.
Wow.
I've been pushing this case to head toward the Supreme Court. The reason I picked the attorneys that I actually have is because they actually have other cases they have argued successfully in the Supreme Court. So you just can't have any attorney, argue a case like that.
No, absolutely. I'm actually admitted to practice before the Supreme Court myself, and I've had a case before the Supreme Court. But you couldn't be more right. In fact, a lot of the people that come in there and argue before the Supreme Court are former Solicitor Generals of the United States or Solicitor Generals at the state level, like Ted Cruz was there in Texas. And so these are some of the most high profile and most able attorneys in the country. And so it's neat that you've got those people there on your team.
Right. And this is not the only case I have. I have another case that's actually protecting gun store owners. So currently, right now, the current administration is deciding to go after, mom and pop gun stores. So
Yes.
I have a lawsuit against the ATF, for that, protecting mom and pop gun stores, saying, hey, you need to stop what you're doing. You're overstepping the authority. You're going further than what Congress has actually said.
That's awesome. You know what I'm guessing a lot of listeners right now are wondering, which is how does all this get funded? Because I'm an attorney and I know what it costs just for me. I'm a little one-man shop. And it would be a big bite of the apple for me to say, I'm taking a Supreme Court case. I can't imagine what my bill would be. Are you just a really, really well-to-do guy, or where's the funding come for a huge fight like taking a case all the way to the Supreme Court, much less more than one case,
we have to reach out
as
to
you've
people
got
and
going.
ask for
Yeah.
Right. We have to reach out to people and ask for donations because it takes, nonprofit organizations. It takes reaching out to, different gun organizations, getting them to donate to the nonprofit. Me reaching out, trying to raise money. It costs a lot. It's not easy. You're talking spending $1 million, if not a little more, and push the case all the way up to the United States Supreme Court.
So is there a place where even my listeners can call and donate? Is there one place where people can say, hey, I want to support this man who's really fighting an incredibly important fight for all of us? On even, whether you care about bump stocks or not, as I don't, again, I care deeply about the issues in your lawsuit and what it means for the Second Amendment and what it means for, for how we're treating the constitutional separation of powers in this country. Is there some place people can go to and actually support you in all of this?
Yes. If you're concerned about, the AR-15 pistol brace, if you're concerned about triggers, reset triggers, if you're concerned about the frames and receivers, then you need to go to michaelcargill.com and donate, because once we push this case, the Garland versus Cargill case makes it to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court hears this case, and they decide in our favor. This bump stock case will be the case that protects all of the different parts and accessories the federal government's trying to ban.
Yeah.
And so go to michaelcargill.com, and you can donate there, and the funds will go exactly where they need to go, because we need to stop the federal government in their tracks of what they're doing.
That's awesome.
Keep our foot on their throats.
Well, listen, we need to take a break, so unfortunately I need to let you go. But last question, how are you feeling about it? I mean, I know I'm sure you're talking to your lawyers on the regular. You're going to have your name on at least one Supreme Court of the United States case. That's something not a lot of people can say. How are you feeling about it? How you feel about the prospects when we get a ruling out of the Supreme Court on your case?
I'm very optimistic. I cannot anticipate what the Supreme Court is going to do or say, or how they're going to rule. I wouldn't want to do that. But we're very optimistic. We're thinking hopefully they go on the same lines as the Fifth Circuit. The Fifth Circuit gave us a definition of what a machine gun was and clarified that. Very good ruling. Go back and read that case if you have not, on how the Fifth Circuit actually played that out. And also the fact that the ATF, an agency within our federal government, it's not just a gun case. This could be the OSHA. This could be, any agency within our federal government decides to ban something, or they're trying to do something where they turn millions of Americans into felons overnight. We're saying, hey, you can't do that. You're an agency within the federal government. You have to go to Congress. Congress has got to write a bill. It has to be signed by the president, and that's how laws are made. We all know the Schoolhouse Rock song and how that goes.
Exactly right.
Very basic.
Yeah, it's very clearly spelled out in the Constitution. So I could not agree with you more. Listen, God bless you. God bless you for being out there fighting a fight on behalf of all of us. I fully support you, and I'm sure all my listeners do. But just from me personally, I couldn't thank you enough for putting the time and effort into making all of this happen on behalf of all of us. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Very much. As always, I like to say more guns equals less crime. You go out there and you buy yourself a gun.
Absolutely right. Thank you so much, Michael Cargill. Listen, we got to take a break. We're a little bit late. We'll come back, and I will get back into the pistol stabilizer brace issue. But thanks so much. This guy's a real hero of the Constitution, not just the Second Amendment. I mean, we're talking about restoring separation of powers in this country. That's a big, big issue, and Michael Cargill's right out front fighting for all of us on that issue. So I'm thrilled that we had him on the show. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
Federal Communications Commission, certain words that we are not allowed to broadcast.
Well, we warned someone about their behavior recently, and they didn't listen to us.
If this were a podcast, we could play all the potty mouth we wanted to, but since it's a broadcast, we cannot. So if you want to get on the air with us, just make sure you keep your language clean, and that's all I'll say about that.
Kendall and Casey, weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Around here, it's a little less about presents and a little more about presents. To celebrate, to share, and to give thanks. To be there. And right now, you can be there in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Shop any of Hubler's 12 locations or visit drivehubler.com and choose from over 1,000 vehicles. Chevy, Ford, GMC, Buick, Nissan, Acura, Mazda, Honda, and many more. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle includes a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report. You can be there for years to come because Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. So what drives Indiana? DriveHubler.com. For over 1,000 vehicles, visit any of our 12 locations. May your season be full of presents. Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Life is all about enjoying the little moments. Don't miss out on them because of unexpected heart issues. At Community Health Network, you receive heart care you can trust. From simple screenings to life-saving diagnostic and interventional cardiology services, we offer it all, so you can get back to the moments that matter. Learn more about our services at ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care simply delivered.
This hour powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
Fox News, I'm Ann Carrick. Israeli forces press deeper into Gaza City as protests against the violence grow louder. Israel agreeing to daily 4-hour pauses so aid can get into Gaza and people can get out. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at a press conference.
If you want security, you have to destroy Hamas. If you want to assure the future of Israel, you have to destroy Hamas. This is what Israel is required to do, and this is what Israel will do.
Former President Trump calling out Bidenomics, the economy, at a rally in Claremont, New Hampshire.
We had the greatest economy in history. Now we have a mess. You'll end up in the Great Depression. And I'll tell you the one thing I don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
The U.S. debt now more than $33 trillion. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zerorez, and how about a good carpet cleaning before family and friends start coming over for the holidays? People can see your floors and carpets, and they'll see those stains when they visit, and many times they can even smell that they're not clean because those carpets are the largest air filter in your home. Remember, that's where everybody sneezes, wipes their shoes, and drops food. Call the professionals at Zerorez for a good pre-holiday cleaning. It really is a great time to clean the carpets, and Zerorez has this gotta love it guarantee that makes it easy to get what you pay for. And it's quick and easy to schedule a time online that's convenient for you. Nobody but Zerorez has the patented electrolyzed ZR water that cleans with no soap, no harsh chemicals, and no residue to attract more dirt. They can even clean your ductwork to help you breathe easier. Schedule online today at ZeroResIndy.com and mention WIBC. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $100 and $50 off air duct cleaning too. For a smarter, lasting clean and really easy scheduling, visit ZeroResIndy.com.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show next Saturday and Sunday at the Hancock County 4-H Fairgrounds in Greenfield. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Hancock County 4-H Fairgrounds in Greenfield. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Get ready for holiday feast season with Pepto-Bismol.
Uncle Derek's here with his famous fried turkey. Hey, Aunt Mary brought the mac and cheese. Donna's here with the potato salad.
Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief for unexpected stomach upsets. So enjoy the holidays. Pepto has you covered, no matter who made the potato salad.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. And what I planned on talking about the first, 2 or 3 segments of the show was the ruling also out of Texas on pistol stabilizer braces. And listen, again, if that's not a term you're familiar with, just very quickly, that's an accessory you can put on a pistol that is intended to actually wrap around your forearm and allows you to stabilize the pistol and shoot it one-handed. And where there's a heavier, higher caliber pistol, like an AR-style pistol or an AK-style pistol, these are really beneficial, especially for people that are handicapped, because they may not be able to use both hands or both arms, and now they can hold the gun steadier, and that's exactly why we call it a pistol stabilizer brace. Well, over 10 years ago, the ATF came out, just like they once said bump stocks, oh, they're totally fine, they're legal, and then changed their mind at the orders of President Trump. Well, very similarly, over 10 years ago, the ATF came out and said, oh, no, pistol stabilizer braces, they don't turn your pistol into a short-barreled rifle, because otherwise, if you have a rifle that has a barrel less than 16 inches, you have to register it as a short-barreled rifle. Yeah, you'd have to pay a $200 tax to the government, and you get it registered, and then you're legal to own that. And if you don't do that, you have an unregistered NFA item, whether it's a machine gun or a short-barreled rifle or a short-barreled shotgun, a suppressor, then you're looking at potentially 10 years in prison. So it's a big deal. So the ATF said, okay, pistol stabilizer braces are fine. They don't turn a pistol into a rifle to where you have to register it as a short-barreled rifle. And then a lot of people started buying these, and frankly, a lot of manufacturers started making them so that you could really use them like stocks. You could put it against your shoulder and shoot two-handed with the brace against your shoulder like a stock, and where you're simulating a short-barreled rifle. And even though the ATF had said that they were legal, they came back around and said, no, they're not, unless you register them, and you need to do that. And they did this in kind of a two-step process. They published their proposed rule. And the original rule, this is important to understand where we are legally on this. The original proposed rule came out and said, well, we've got a point system, and you need to add up the points, because if you have a stabilizer brace on your pistol, depending on the caliber, you get so many points depending on the caliber of the firearm. Weight, there's a point system for weight and barrel length and optics and other accessories you have on it. And there was this way for you to add up all these points and determine whether you now had an SBR or not, whether it was no longer a pistol because it had a brace on it, due to the points that you got from all these other factors. And that was the proposed rule. And they got a solicited comment, which is required by something called the Administrative Procedures Act. And there was public comment. And we all got to go in, and I made a comment and said, this is ridiculous for this reason, and nobody can figure out the point system, and it's arbitrary, and it's vague, and a lot of people complained. And they came out then with a final rule that completely did away with this whole point system and just basically said, yeah, if you put a brace on a pistol, it's pretty much an SBR. And there may be some exceptions, but for the most part, you better just assume it's an SBR. And now you got to register it. But, oh, by the way, we're going to waive the $200 tax, but you still have to register it. And so a whole bunch of people did. A couple 100,000 people is what I've read. Well, now that's being disputed, and that's being litigated. And, in fact, 3 disabled Marines, 3 heroes, actually filed a case in Texas, and they were just successful in that case in Texas in having that court say that the pistol stabilizer brace is unlawful. And that's got an awful lot of press. It's got an awful lot of attention. There have been a lot of commentators come out on YouTube and otherwise on social media commenting on this. We'll go into that when we come back. We need to take a break right now. But a lot of people saying the rule is dead. You can put a stabilizer brace right back on your pistol and don't have to worry about it. It's no longer an SBR. It's over. The rule's dead because of this ruling, this win that these decorated Marines, if you want to look this up, the case is actually BRITTO, BRITTO versus Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, ATF or BATFE. And you can look it up and read it. But an injunction was issued nationwide saying ATF cannot enforce the rule. And that's why people come out and say, that's it, Eureka, it's dead. Well, is it? That's what I'll get into when we come back in our last segment of this ridiculously abbreviated Gun Guy Show. I'll be right back. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
We feel.
Feel it as soon as you step out the door.
What you feel.
Bundle up. Feels like winter.
It's going to be more like summertime.
All the feels.
It feels a little like winter.
Feels more like summer.
Of fall.
It's kind of the clash of 2 seasons.
Weather. When you need it.
The ebbs and flows this time of the year is so evident.
On your official fall weather station. 93 WIBC.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel for Window Nation. The temperatures are dropping rapidly and energy costs are on the rise. If you have old, drafty windows, your furnace is working harder than ever to keep your family warm. Why pay unnecessarily high energy bills when Window Nation can help keep you and your family warm all season long, all while lowering your monthly energy costs by up to 30%.
And this month only, Window Nation is offering 0% interest for 5 years. That's 60 months interest free. And get 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy. Now is the time to protect your family from the elements, lower your energy costs, and upgrade the look and feel of your home. Get 0% interest for 5 years. Plus, 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy. Offer only good this month. Call Window Nation right now. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION, windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate the paint, do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
2-story home, built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing the paint, I heard a radio ad, with a Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating, better than paint.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
Our 25% off special has been extended through November. Plus, receive a free TV up to 75 inches just by having your job done by spring of 2024.
From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Remember, you have until the end of November to receive 25% off. Plus, get your job done by spring of 2024 and receive a free TV. Restrictions apply. Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
AE Ammo is Greenwood's ammunition superstore. The largest variety in training, hunting, and self-defense ammo with the best prices locally guaranteed. Factory new 9mm FMJ ammo starting at $12 per 50-round box. Factory new 50-round boxes, $380 from $14.99 and $45 ACP from $18.99. And with the AE Ammo Customer Rewards Program, start earning points today towards money back to use on future purchases. Shop in-store or online at aeammo.com.
Get ready for holiday feast season with Pepto-Bismol.
Uncle Derek's here with his famous fried turkey. Hey, Aunt Mary brought the mac and cheese. Donna's here with the potato salad.
Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief for unexpected stomach upsets. So enjoy the holidays. Pepto has you covered, no matter who made the potato salad.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Head to the contest page at WIBC.com and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra on December 26th at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Go to WIBC.com for more info.
Now you've got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. And listen, we've just got about 5 minutes here to wrap this up, so I'm going to revisit this next week, and I apologize because I told people I was going to go into this in detail tonight, which we just didn't have time to do for all the reasons I've been whining about. But here's what didn't happen. In this case, in Texas, yes, a district court judge, trial court, has ordered a nationwide injunction against the ATF saying you may not enforce the pistol stabilizer brace rule. And yes, they've done that. Now, there can be a jurisdictional challenge to that to say, can one judge in one district in one part of Texas actually impose a nationwide injunction, preventing the ATF from enforcing this anywhere else? That's a challenge. There's another issue, which is that a lot of people are reporting. Well, let me just play how Colin Noir, and listen, I like Colin Noir. He's a kind of a younger, hip black guy that was big on NRA TV back when I was on NRA TV. But he came out, and I've had a gazillion people forward me this YouTube video that for the most part starts like this.
Breaking news. The ATF brace rule is dead. And now you all can go back to putting all the sweet SB tactical braces on your AR and AK pistols without worrying if you're breaking the law or having to pay a $200 tax and waiting for 3 months. Kind of.
There you go. And so I've got all these people. I've got gun shop owners, friends of mine that are contacting me going, hey, Guy, I can start selling pistol length ARs or AKs with braces on them again, right? Because we just saw in the video, or just heard on the video from Colin Noir, who is a lawyer, by the way. I'm not sure when he started practicing law or when he went to law school, but he was born the year I graduated from law school, so I think I've been doing this a little bit longer. But I like the guy and I respect him. But so people are hearing that going, is that it? Is it over? Well, here's what's going on. Was the law declared to be unconstitutional? Again, I say law. It's a rule promulgated by the ATF. Okay. Was it declared to be unconstitutional? The answer to that is no. In fact, the court, if you read the opinion, just Google it, Brito v. ATF, stabilizer brace. It'll come right up. Read it. It's only 9 pages long. They specifically said we're not reaching the constitutionality issue. So the rule from ATF has not been declared unconstitutional. So why did the judge issue the injunction? He issued it because the final rule was not what's called a logical outgrowth of the proposed rule that went through the whole rulemaking process, including public comment. So all these people commented on the proposed rule. Then they came out with a final rule that completely ditched this point system that ATF based the whole original proposed rule on. The point system went away. And they just said, now we're just saying if you got a pistol stabilizer brace on your pistol length upper, then it's pretty much an SBR and you got to register it or we're going to put you in prison for 10 years. And the rule under what's called the Administrative Procedures Act, and as it's been interpreted by the court decisions, is that the final rule, if it's imposed, if it's adopted by the regulatory agency, has to be a logical outgrowth of the proposed rule. And here the court in Texas said this isn't, which doesn't mean it's unconstitutional. It doesn't mean it violates what we call the vesting clause of Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution that says all legislative power shall be vested in a Congress. It hasn't been declared unconstitutional as violating the Second Amendment because pistol stabilizer braces are protected as being commonly used as an arm, a bearable arm in the United States. And so banning them violates the Second Amendment. None of that's been ruled on. They essentially said the final rule just simply wasn't a logical outgrowth from the proposed rule. For that reason, it violates the Administrative Procedures Act, and for that reason is illegal and unenforceable, but not unconstitutional. Now, Colin Noir in his video goes on to say, and I won't play this for you because we're running out of time. He goes on to say, but the Fifth Circuit has already said this is illegal. That's the appellate court this decision will go up to. They've already said that the rule's illegal, so why would they even appeal? Because they're just going to lose. Well, here's what can happen. And listen, a lot of the different things can happen. It can still be found to be unconstitutional. It can still go away permanently. But here's what could happen, and this is not untenable, is they go up to the Fifth Circuit and they can agree the final rule is not a logical outgrowth. It's not consistent. It's not germane, is a word we use with legislation. So it's unenforceable. What could the ATF then do? Just impose the original rule with a point system, and we're right back where we started.
Real estate research reports housing prices are still slowly rising, and inventory is still below historical averages. Now is a great time to get a big payday from your equity growth. Hire the agent who is an expert on maximizing your home price fast, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want maximum equity for your home, but not sure how. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Ben near Speedway had to say about working with Mark Dietel. After 48 years, it was time to downsize and cash in on my equity. I heard about Mark on the radio and hired him, and he delivered as promised. Mark got me a cash offer with no appraisal before the home went on the market at the price I wanted. Call for all the details. Call the agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com.
Around here, it's a little less about presents and a little more about presents. To celebrate, to share, and to give thanks. To be there. And right now, you can be there in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Shop any of Hubler's 12 locations or visit drivehubler.com